Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Good night. How are you? This is Garfield Waller coming to you with another episode of Rock the Mic. I'm sorry, but I thought I was going to be late tonight. Went out a bit, but back home in time. So tonight we may have a shortened version of our program, Rock the Mic. Right here in Florida, it's been anything but sunny. Lots of rain, lots of rain. When I say lots of rain, showers, thunderstorms. But we're hoping for a better day tomorrow. So, how are you in your neck of the woods? Let me know, guys. Let me know. Don't be afraid to drop a comment to let me know. First, as usual, give me a sound check. Let me know what the audio is like, and then we'll move on from there. And while you're here, don't be afraid to subscribe to the program. Okay, it helps me out. Don't be afraid. But if you're gonna put in comments, guys, could you make sure they are respectable? Please don't malign anybody. As usual, we're going to talk a little politics again. Won't be long tonight. Guys, lots of things happening. Lots of things happening. Everybody's wondering why and when will the Prime Minister call elections. I think what he's waiting for is the Electoral Commission, I think. The Electoral Commission, I think, is still training workers. They're still training election day workers, and until they tell him that, look, everything is good to go, I don't think he can really set the date. So the electoral office, they are still training election day workers. So they have to be trained and they have to make sure everything is on point and ready for this election. Because trust me, this one is gonna be very, very important. This one will determine the future of Jamaica for the next 10, 20 years. So, guys, let's look at some of the things that have been happening and look at the topic I have tonight. How much faith do you have in polls? How much faith do you have in polls? We see that politicians have used polls for their benefit. When the polls favor a politician, yes, they are believable, they're correct. But the moment the polls goes against that politician, nah, polls are wrong. They're biased. We see that happening here in the States and happening there in Jamaica. And if we look at some of the latest polls, well, one of the latest polls I want to look at, guys, I think it was done. Let me see if I get this right. I think it was a few days ago, a couple of days ago. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the Don Anderson polls. Was it? I'm not sure if it was him, but the results are. I don't know if I should say the results are startling. The results are, I wouldn't say startling, but very interesting. For example, this poll, I think it came out on a couple of days ago. People's National JLP leads the People's National Party by about 4% with 3 months to go before the general election is due. JLP leads the PNP by roughly 4%. And it says, I think it was a Blue Dot poll, nationwide Blue Dot poll. 35% of Jamaicans say that they would vote for the JLP as opposed to 31% who said they would, at the moment, vote for the PNP. So that's how it goes. 35% now say they would vote for the JLP. 31 said they'd vote for the PNP. Turns out that the polls say the PNP has gained 3 points since February 2025, while the JLP lost a point over the same period. So, from what they're saying, that if the election were held today, this would be a very, very close one. This would be a very, very close one. And this poll was conducted, I think, between May 2nd and May 7th. And it sampled 1,618 registered voters across all 14 parishes. And it has a margin of plus or minus 2.3%. So at present, 35% of the electorate say they would vote JLP, as opposed to 31% who say they'll back the PNP. Do you think this poll is accurate? What do you think? Is this an accurate representation of the population out there? Something else I want to touch on before we look at the polls even more. Something else I want to touch on: the appointment of Mr. What's his name, Dennis Chung. Dennis Chung, who is leaving his post as General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation. And he's going to take up the appointment as the Chief Technical Director with the Financial Investigations Division. Hey, when you look at Mr. Chung's resume, he seems very qualified for the job. He seems qualified for the job. It says Chung brings over 35 years of experience in accounting and financial management, having served in both the public and private sectors. He is a certified public accountant and holds a bachelor's of science and a master's of science in accounting, both from UWI. He also served with the JFF, head of the legacy operations for the divestment team at Air Jamaica, and from 2018 to 2022 led Supreme Ventures. So this man is qualified. But why the rumblings? Why the rumblings about his appointment? Seems like the People's National Party is not satisfied with Mr. Chung being the head of the Financial Investigation Division. They say he's much too close to the JLP and the Prime Minister, and they'll think it's going to be a conflict of interest. They say as if it were a judge, that Mr. Chung would have to recuse himself from the case. What do you guys think? Is he the best man for the job? Is the PNP on the right track here, or are they just blowing smoke? Is it just politics as usual? What do you guys think? But I'd love to know how it works out with you guys and the polls. Do you just come on, just put it in the chat. Are the polls something you are confident in? Are you confident in polls? Do you have faith in them? For me, the way I look at it, numbers can be manipulated to satisfy anything you want. They say numbers don't lie, but yeah, you can lie with them. It depends on where the poll is done, how it's done, how the numbers are tabulated. If the person or the company doing the poll is completely independent, and it's gonna be hard to find that, then polls can be legit. But otherwise, they can be skewed, as we have seen often. I remember when I think I was in high school yet. I remember when Michael Manley said, "Oh, we have Carl Stone." When the poll favored the PNP, I remember him saying, "We have Carl Stone. He is one of these mathematician guys, and his polls are in fact, his polls are very accurate." Some years later, when Manley was on the losing side, he said, "Polls, I don't believe them." We saw the same thing happening here in the States with Donald Trump. When the polls were against him, he downplayed it. Those polls are biased. And once the polls show that, hey, he was on top, they were the most accurate thing. It was as though they were handed down from God to Moses. He actually believed them at that time. But another poll that I find, not alarming, a bit surprising, was a poll. It was mentioned by Cliff Hughes in Western St. Mary. Western St. Mary, where you have the JLP's Bobby Montague going up against Mr. Orville Woodbine. Western St. Mary is very important because historically, the party that wins Western St. Mary wins a general election. So people are looking at this constituency very, very closely. Western St. Mary could be, I don't know how you put it, but they could point to who is going to come out victorious. And we know Montague has been a stalwart in Western St. Mary. He's been a stalwart for the Jamaica Labour Party. But from what Cliff was saying, the polls show that he's gonna be in the fight of his life. In fact, Cliff Hughes is saying the polls are showing that he might and he will lose. Can you imagine that? Bobby Montague losing. I personally don't really see that happening. I believe in the end Bobby's gonna pull through and he'll come out victorious. But the PNP is experiencing a groundswell there among their people, and they're making that push. Woodbine seems to be doing a lot. Not to say Bobby isn't doing a lot, Bobby is doing a whole lot. Okay, Bobby is really working, but somehow the PNP is making inroads into all he has gained. What do you think? Put something in the chat and let me know, guys. Please understand this. Let me before we go any further. Let me say this. Look, I have watched and listened to a lot of YouTube channels that deal with politics, and I find that most of them are either staunchly JLP, staunchly PNP. They will not cross the line and say good about the other party. That's not me, guys. I am neither pushing JLP agenda or the PNP agenda. If you see a GLP person on this program talking, it's because they are brave enough to come on. Anybody who wants to come on, the invitation is wide open. I have invited both GLP and PNP councillors. I've invited candidates in some of the candidates in St. Mary. No, they won't make the move. I don't know why. I don't know what's keeping them from coming on and having us learn a little bit about their plans, their hopes, their dreams, and what they intend to do. Nope. The gentleman last week was a former JLP councillor. He was willing to come on and he spent over an hour and he spoke from the heart. So if I put the invitation out there, whoever takes it up, I'm willing to talk to them. Whether you're JLP or PNP, I'm willing to talk. If you don't want to make the effort, please don't blame me. Okay? I'm not pushing an agenda here. I'm trying to get to the truth, if there's one. So if you, as a councillor or some politician, feels like, if you feel like all you have to talk to is your base, fine. But remember, there are independent voters out there who you've got to try and swing. Yeah, your base can carry you so far, but you need to get some of the independent voters or even get somebody from the other party voting for you. But back to our thing here in St. Mary. But could you imagine a scenario where Montague loses his seat? Woodbine is really pushing things. I saw some videos of a what do you call it? Well, one of these big conferences they had in Bailey'sville, and man, it was huge. There was another one that they had a few weeks ago in Rockabessa. We know Rockabessa is one of the PNP strongholds, and that was massive. Montague had one earlier, yes, big crowd. So it's gonna be interesting there in Western St. Mary. But my question still is out there, guys. What do you think about polls? Do you think they're accurate? Do you think they're faulty? Do you think they're misleading? Because look at it. You might say, hey, the opposition leading in the other party leading in the polls makes no sense me voting. Or the ruling party leading in the polls, why should I go waste my vote? And I think polls will do that to some people. What do you think? If you're leading, if your party is leading in the polls, they have a good lead, will they become complacent? If your party is behind, will they pick up steam or will they get despondent? You see, numbers can do a lot of things. Can do a lot of good for you, can do a lot of bad for you. But do you trust these Blue Dot polls or do you trust the Donna Anderson polls? I'd really love to know what you think. Where's your mind at? So guys, if you want to put something in the chat, let me know. Let me know how you think. And I'd love to know where you're watching or listening from. not everybody listens to the live broadcast. A lot of people will wait a day or two. Something is wrong with that Facebook algorithm. You put something live and it doesn't pop up on somebody's feed until a couple of days later. I just never understand that. I've tried it and something is wrong. I have done some live test feeds here. And after I'm done, I try to log on Facebook just to see if it will pop up right away. And it doesn't. It takes a couple of days sometimes. But whenever you want to watch, whenever you choose to watch, whether you're going to replay this, fine. Don't forget to leave a comment. Leave a comment. Let's see what you're thinking. Are you pro PNP or pro GLP? And instead of just telling me, hey, loading for a third term or time come, say why. That's the thing with us people. Yes, you say you're a GLP supporter. Why? Why do you support that party? Tell me what is it about their policies that you like? Or if you're a PNP, if you're a comrade, why does that party enjoy your support? If you say you're a diehard to this, why? I want to know. Give me that reason. Give me that reason. Don't just say, hey, shower, power. Mm-mm. Let me know. Let me see that you're an intelligent, thinking person. You're not just following the masses. You're not just jumping on the bandwagon. And I find a lot of people do that. They're what we call in Jamaica wagonists. Hey, that crowd big. Let me go with them. No, I want to know. Let me see that you are actually thinking. What is it about the party you like? What is it about what the leader says or what the leader plans to do? What about their manifesto that pulls you into them? And again, are you honest enough to say that? Few Jamaicans are honest enough to say, look, my party screwed up here. My party screwed up here. Or the other party did well here. I like this and this policy from the other party. Come, we got to be honest. Remember, it's not just about scoring points here, guys. We're looking at the nation. We're looking at the whole nation. We're all one. And regardless of who sits in Jamaica House, hey, he or she is supposed to govern for the entire country. What do you think about that gun find the other day? The discovery of, what's it, 233 guns? What the hell are they going? Are we starting a civil war or something? And I'd like to know why did the cops handle it like that? Why not? Okay, you discover the guns. Why burst it out there? Why not just lay low, keep a lookout, and see who is gonna pick it up? Who is it going to? That way we can get to the root of the matter. But whoever asks for those guns, 233 guns intercepted, he's gonna try. He or she's gonna try again. Yes, we get 200 plus guns off the street, but who's to say there's not another 200 there? Was that a decoy shipment to throw the police off the scent? But I think we should play it smarter and try to, see if we can get some more information. We want to find out who is it coming to? Who are those guns headed to? Who is going to pick up that shipment? Somebody has to pick it up. Why not just lay low and watch and see what happens? But crime is down. They said the month of, March or May has always had the highest amount of murders, and now it is down a whole lot. I find it funny that many people are skeptical of this report. Can you imagine? Hey, murders are down, and many people are saying, no, something wrong. Something is wrong here. Many people are saying, hey, the ruling party has asked their henchmen to cool it. Is this so? Many are saying the police are falsifying the numbers. What do you think? Because it's going to be interesting to see after the election. It's going to be interesting to see after the election. Here's the problem they have. If GLP wins, will the murders go back up? If the murders go back up, well, we know there may have been some truth to the whole thing about guys being quiet. If the PNP wins and the murder rate spikes again, what does that tell us? What does that say to us? I'm hoping and praying that the murder rate will be continue to be pushed down until it would be good with divine intervention. Also, we could have a zero murder rate. I don't see that happening, but let's pray for that. But if everything is accurate, the security forces are doing a good job. But at the same time, there's a lot that we require of the security forces. I am hearing about some disturbing incidents of stops and searches and people being arrested for no reason. Hey, security, you're helping to squash crime, but you cannot at the same time harass the citizens. You cannot at the same time pull the citizens over, do a search, beat them up, throw them in jail. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen in a democratic country like what we have. And I've heard many stories of people being stopped, and all the cops want is money. People must let off. What happened, guys? Security minister? What happened to the cameras that these guys were supposed to have? A cop should not be out there on duty unless his body camera is on, because we need to be able to prove things. And cops, another thing, cops not turning up to court. Judges, we shouldn't be lenient on that. Cop doesn't turn up to court, throw the case out. Cop, he knows he has a court date. If he doesn't turn up, you throw the case out. Because if they arrest me and I don't turn up for the court date, you know I'm in trouble. The police should face the same punishment also. But we as cops, we gotta stop that. Hey, you're doing good with one on one hand, and then you're screwing it up on the other. Cutting down crime, but you're harassing the ordinary citizens. This search and seizure thing, no. Unless you have reasonable suspicion that, hey, Tom Brown has committed a crime, you shouldn't detain him. And what's all this searching for? Do you have evidence that this man is involved in criminality? No, you need proof. And we need to put the pressure on our cops. Yes, we commend them for getting a lot of criminals off the street, but come on. If you need the support of the ordinary man, you better treat them well. So, guys, since I don't seem like we're getting any responses here, not in the chat, maybe on the replay later on during the week, people will respond. So remember, let me know, how much faith do you have in polls? Which ones do you believe? Which ones do you think are fake? Which ones do you think is just there for propaganda? So please let me know. So guys, until next week, this is Garfield Wallace signing out from Rock the Mic. Have a great evening all. Take care. Stay safe.